I've got one here if you either want mine or I can do it. Okay, welcome everyone to the November 22nd, 2024 board meeting of the Calgary Metropolitan Region Board. I will officially call the meeting to order and turn it over to Mayor Thorne from Okotoks for a land acknowledgement, please.
Okay. The Calgary Metropolitan Region is situated on the land near to where the Bow River meets the Elbow River, and that traditional Blackfoot name of this place is Mokintus, which we now call the city of Calgary. The Calgary Metropolitan Region is honored to be in the traditional territory of the Siksika, Kainai, Piikani, and Amiskapa Piikani nations of the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Tsuut'ina Nation, the Bearspaw, Chiniki, and Goodstoney nations of the Stoney Nakoda, and the Opupinskame, oh, I said that really badly, Métis government of the Métis Nation. Our region is part of the Battle River Territory, which includes the Rocky View and Foothills districts, as well as the districts of Calgary Nose Hill and Calgary Elbow. In the spirit of truth and reconciliation, the CMRB is actively working to build meaningful and mutually beneficial long-term relationships with the Indigenous nations and the communities in and around the region. We make this acknowledgement as we move forward on our journey of reconciliation and recognize all the nations, Indigenous and non, who live, work, and create on this land, and we honor and celebrate this territory.
Mayor Thorne, thank you very much. We're honored today to be joined by Minister Rick McIver, Minister of Municipal Affairs, so I will keep my opening remarks brief by saying that's my opening remark. We'll look then, please, you've been distributed with an updated agenda, which includes a closed session here at the head of the meeting to hear from the Minister. May I have a motion, please, to adopt or revise the agenda? So moved. Mayor Brown from Airdrie moves. Do we have a second? Mayor Snodgrass from High River second. Do we have any debate? All those in favor to adopt the agenda? Agenda is adopted. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move into a closed session pursuant to Section 21 of FOIP. If I can ask, please, all but board members, designates, and the chief officer to please leave. We will pause streaming. We will let you know Okay, we're back live. We're going to turn it over to Minister McIver. Mr. McIver, go ahead.
Okay, I'll be brief and then I'll be gone at this point. So anyways, I wanted to have an in-camera meeting with the board members out of respect for them. And that's what I did, but they reminded me that they can't really talk about what's in camera till it's out of camera, till it's announced. So what I just informed the board is that, well, nothing strictly speaking changes today. Our intention is that this will be the last year that the government of Alberta funds the Calgary Municipal Regional Board. It was always intended to be self-supporting along the way, and as of next year, it will need to be. And the other thing that I informed the board that our government's intention is to make membership not mandatory in the future. There's probably a lot more things around that which we discussed with the board members. So at any rate, never really wanted them sworn to secrecy because they need to represent their municipalities and talk about what's going on. So now I've announced it and they don't have to, and now it's not in camera anymore.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. At this point, I would invite a motion that we recess until, take a brief recess for 15 or so minutes. When they make such a motion? Mayor Janung, seconded by Mayor Dean. Thank you very much. All those in favor? I'll take a recess. Thank you. into session. We're good? Okay, we're back. We're going to continue on with our agenda. We are on to our community update from the beautiful town of Cochrane. Mayor Janung is going to take us through that, and I believe we have a presentation. We'll turn it over to you. Go ahead, Mayor Janung.
Chair, as I was whispering offline here, it's kind of today's announcement is kind of taking the thunder away from my big announcement or my big community context statement I wanted to deliver today. But that being said, I'll push on.
We're very excited about
Thank you. No, thank you. You should be excited. Well, look at this. Lisa, do you mind to just grab the lights, please? Yeah. And now that we have just gone, budget cuts. We're gonna yeah.
energy efficiency.
Yeah, too soon. Welcome to Cochrane, everyone. We had originally gone through the region and gone to each of our communities and done a 15 or so minute presentation. So I think coming back to Cochrane, this is now the beginning of our second, potentially the second go through each of our communities. So I intend to keep my comments brief today, although my opening remarks maybe already extended them. But I just wanted to maybe instead of say, oh, look at what Cochrane's doing, really focus today on a little bit about what Cochrane's facing. If we get to the next slide. We have done and I'm sure many of you are doing this in your communities, a population growth and a growth study. And what what our consultant has told us is that in 22 years, Cochrane could expect to have 75 to, and with a high growth scenario, which we have been experiencing in the last 10 years, 155,000 people living in this community in 22 years. That should not be a shock to anyone in the region. We're all experiencing this type of growth, but as we go to the next slide, how it's presenting itself in our community, and well, you likely drove through this interchange. This was a few short years ago. The next slide is the beginning of construction, and that's a provincial interchange that's being constructed, over $120 million in infrastructure upgrades to this one intersection. And then the next slide is what you've driven through today. It's already advanced past that, but really what this means for Cochrane is we went from a four-way stop a few short years ago to a massive city-like interchange, partial cloverleaf, given that the CPKC rail line is there, historic ranch on the right of the slide there. And we're really seeing our community shift from small town to mid-sized city. And it's happening in front of our eyes with the infrastructure that's being developed. That's really all I wanted to focus on that. But that growth that I talked about is, and next slide, is putting pressures on every single system we have. You can imagine going from a community of 10,000 people to currently we're sitting at 37,000 and on our way to 100,000+. We've had to invest in RCMP detachments, infrastructure upgrades of our own, and the bottom left is the highway that you would have encountered coming down the Cochrane Hill. On the right, we have a business incubator that we've invested and established in our downtown core. But it's putting pressures on seniors housing, and these are all issues that we're all facing around this table. But I really wanted to, in my comments today, talk about how it's really affecting a community that has gone from small town to mid-sized city. The next slide is, I'm just picking one service here. In 2018, Cochrane had no transit, zero transit. In 2023, we had 72,000 trips on a newly established transit system, similar to Okotoks. I think we encountered transit at the same time. In 22 years, we'll need some sort of C-train-like transit system. So imagine the evolution of going from nothing to a city service, a mid-sized city service in the few short years of 25 years. The investment that requires, the staffing that requires, the planning that requires, and that is one service in our community. So I think I've been using that slide in our community to really get our residents to understand what it is that growth means. Growth is a good problem. I'm not here complaining about it. I am here just telling the story of the pressures that it's putting on our organization and on our community. Last slide is council's gotten together with administration and gone through a 10-year capital plan. We quickly got to $1 billion in needs. Some of those are nice to haves. Most of them are needs that we have to have. And that is putting extreme, we don't have $1 billion, by the way. Yeah, and that everyone laughs at that, but it's not funny. It is what is required to operate this community in the next 10 years. The nice to haves on top of that would probably double that number. And really that's all I wanted to touch on today. And the next slide is just a look at that. You too could live here. Wait, whoa, slow down. That's part of the problem. Everyone wants to live here. And this is just a snapshot of why. So happy to use up the rest of my time with questions if there are any, Mr. Chair, but I'm hoping I can model for the rest of our communities as we go through that maybe we take it to some issues that we're facing versus a tour of our community that I think we've all experienced.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's a natural evolution, and thank you so much. That was great. Thank you, Mayor Chinon. Any questions or comments? Anyone wish to weigh in on that?
Or applause.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Kudos. Or perhaps change in your couch cushions that can contribute to the billion that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're looking everywhere.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right, thank you very much for that. We have a consent agenda before us. The minutes from our last two meetings, October 21st and October 25th. Board strategic initiatives update and an update on my concurrent roles as board chair. Anyone wish to move any of those items onto the full agenda for discussion? And if none, can I have a motion, please, to approve the consent agenda? Reeve Kissel, followed by Mayor Thorne. Thank you. Any debate on that? All those in favor? Thank you. I've forgotten the note that Scott is doing the minutes for the first time, and I'm supposed to move much more slowly than that, so. Are we're okay so far? Okay, great. With that, we will turn it over to Lisa Tipman, our Chief Officer, Rocky View and Calgary, for discussion on Prairie Economic Gateway. Please, to you.
Is that working? Great. Thanks, Lisa. Before you today, Board, is for decision is REF Application 2024-12, which is the Rocky View County Prairie Gateway Area Structure Plan. This is a REF application that includes a request for approval of the area structure plan and also that the board approve a new growth area, which is an employment area outside of a preferred growth area. And under a typical process, because this REF application was found to align with the growth plan and be consistent with its policies, we would have had the 21-day review period and then it would have been approved. However, the growth plan does provide the board with some considerations that it must think about when it's approving a new growth area. And so for that reason, Prairie Gateway is being presented to you today. The growth plan policy 3134 identifies these considerations, which are as follows. I'll just summarize them here rather than reading out the specific text. Rationale for the location outside of a preferred growth area, a suitable transportation network, an efficient use of land and services, collaboration with municipalities within 2 kilometers, including consideration of cost-benefit sharing, and existing or planned water, wastewater, and or stormwater servicing. And upon review, both the third party and CMRB administration found that the REF application 2024-12 was consistent with the policies of the growth plan, and also that the application supports the considerations that are in 3134A to E that are the board considerations. So with that, I will hand it over for Rocky View County and City of Calgary to tell you more. So thank you very much.
All right, do we have a presentation that's going to be coming up? Or are we going to, okay, go ahead.
If you could.
Thank you and good morning. So I'd like to wish everybody good morning and thank you for the guests that have attended here this morning. So I stand before you today, I'm not really standing, but that's okay, to present both the vision and the plan that involves a coherent partnership between the City of Calgary, Rocky View County, and Shepherd Developments. This is a historic call to action between the private sector, the public authorities, that allows us to strengthen industry efforts and turn future challenges into opportunities. I am very proud to bring forward the Prairie Gateway ASP for your consideration. We believe this represents a significant steps forward in regional collaboration that is geared to delivering commercially successful products. In many ways, this ensures a broad range of benefits. This plan looks beyond the short-term considerations and positions our region with the firm prospect for sustainable growth for the future. This area structure plan is located entirely within Rocky View County, supported by the City of Calgary servicing, and will provide regional economical benefit via rail service industrial development that will open continental markets and opportunities for Alberta. We anticipate 6,750 jobs and an economic impact of over $1.6 billion from the infrastructure investments alone. Our approach to this project was the co-creation of an area structure plan with borderless servicing and infrastructure approach that reaches beyond municipal boundaries. The North Star for servicing and infrastructure focused on a shared pursuit of long-term growth and prosperity for all. So I'd just like to take a moment and acknowledge the staff. This has been about a 2.5-year journey. And I tell you what, everyone has been stellar. To have 3 different entities work together, and it wasn't always easy to get to here, but we're sure proud we are here, and I'd like to thank you. So I'll pass this over to the city and the county to present the item.
Thank you, Reeve Kissel. Good morning, board members. I'm Caitlin Luster, Senior Regional Planner with Rocky View County.
And I'm Sean McLean, Senior Planner with the City of Calgary.
Today's presentation outline includes the following topics: the REF application overview, intermunicipal collaboration, area structure plan overview, regional benefits, and the growth plan alignment. This application is regarding a new area structure plan, Prairie Gateway ASP, as an employment area outside of a preferred growth area, as per Growth Plan Policy 3134 and 3135. Additional supporting statutory amendments include Rocky View County, City of Calgary Intermunicipal Development Plan, the City of Calgary Municipal Development Plan, and the Calgary Transportation Plan.
Through the Prairie Economic Gateway, a unique opportunity emerged where a new approach to regional planning could be undertaken. It reimagines how municipalities can work together to achieve mutual goals. In 2023, the county and the city formed the Prairie Economic Gateway, or the Gateway Initiative. Both municipalities agreed to explore joint planning and infrastructure arrangements to enable rail served development located along the Canada-Mexico, or the Canamex corridor. The Gateway Initiative focuses on 3 work streams. There's the shared investment and shared benefit, which results in a deal structure between the 2 municipalities. The joint planning area structure plan, which is before the board today, which includes the Prairie Gateway Area Structure Plan, which was a collaborative effort between both municipalities as well as Shepherd Development Corporation, the major landowner and major developer within the plan area. The Gateway Initiative includes a model for continued collaboration between all the parties to ensure the long-term sustainability and operations of the development. In commitment to the collaborative nature of the project, all parties worked together to develop a process that would meet the unique needs and goals of this plan. Scopes of work for the technical requirements were done via a hybrid combination between county and city standards to ensure that the lands would be fully serviced for the development, as well as meet the needs and requirements of both municipalities. Early analysis showed that due to the location and the nature of the type of development that was to occur, that the most logical and sense-worthy provider for services for water, wastewater, and stormwater was the City of Calgary. This showed and allowed for truly regional collaborative servicing and planning approach in the area structure plan, where each of the parties was able to bring forward the skills, resources, and knowledge that best suited the project from their perspective, and able to lean on each other where we could learn from each other and enable the success of the development. Through the ASP, it was identified that additional supporting amendments would be required to support the development. Amendments to the Rocky View County and City of Calgary IDP will be required as amendments, as well as amendments to the City of Calgary's Municipal Development Plan. The IDP amendments focus on ensuring collaborative nature planning framework within the area structure plan area, as well as introduce a new key focus area for the ASP area. This ensures statutory alignment between the documents, as well as formalizes the commitment of intermunicipal collaboration and cooperation into this bylaw. Minor amendments to the City of Calgary's Municipal Development Plan were also included. Includes minor policy amendments to ensure collaborative policy planning framework, as well as removing the lands from the area structure plan from the City of Calgary's growth area, and updating 114th Avenue into a supporting goods movement corridor.
The ASP is in a prime development location, connected to the region's major infrastructure and assets, approximately 4 kilometers east of Stony Trail. The recent acquisition of Kansas City Southern by Canadian Pacific established a transnational railway connection through Canada, the US, and Mexico, strengthening the Canamex trade corridor, as you see in red in the image in front of you. The ASP's connectivity provided by the CPKC mainline allows for a unique rail-served development opportunity that connects the region's industrial inventory to the Canamex corridor. This opens connections to new continental markets, supports regional economic growth, and does not compete with existing employment areas. This piece of land has all the right elements for this unique development opportunity. Large area, nearly undeveloped, connected to the main line, and an extension of planned industrial lands. Rail-served development is industrial development which contains rail infrastructure, such as a spur line, within the parcel and directly utilizes that rail infrastructure in their operations, as you can see in this graphic. Rail-served development differs from intermodal sites, as it includes the direct rail access and reduces the need for trucks in transloading operations. Rail-served developments are critical for logistics and distribution centers by cutting out the middleman and offering a streamlined operation for receiving raw materials and shipping finished products. In addition to rail-served development, there's opportunity for industrial uses across the area, as well as limited commercial that would support rail-served industrial. This portion of the region is naturally developing into a rail hub, with the CPKC rail yard and intermodal terminal, as you can see on this map, as well as adjacent industrial areas benefiting from nearby rail. This rail-served development is a complementary and advantageous addition. This benefits the region by improving economic diversification and competitiveness through access to new markets and providing for a different type of industrial that our inventory currently contains. In addition, it increases employment opportunities, there's spin-off benefits for the supply chain, and the efficient use of the regional transportation network lowers transportation costs for businesses across the region, and less trucks means lower emissions. Additionally, adjacent land and developments in both municipalities can benefit from servicing this area. The vision and intent of the growth plan is facilitation of sustainable growth, collaboration, and regional prosperity. This ASP meets the growth plan intent and vision. It is connected to the region's major infrastructure and assets in the path of development and where services can be provided efficiently. It includes borderless delivery of water, wastewater, and stormwater services based on a fair shared investment, shared benefit framework. It provides for multimodal transportation, ensuring efficient and effective movement of people and goods. It coordinates regional infrastructure improvements and promotes the region's economic well-being and competitiveness. As stated earlier, the ASP supports a unique development opportunity that does not compete with existing employment areas and creates a new economic development opportunity. The ASP is in proximity to other industrial areas, including adjacent industrial lands in the city, as well as the CPKC rail yard and intermodal terminal, supporting function and efficiency of industry across the region. This ASP is focused on rail-served development. However, there are opportunities for industrial across the area and limited commercial. This plan provides a multimodal transportation network suitable for these types of development, as well as regional network upgrades, improving the efficiencies of good movements. A traffic impact assessment informed the regional and local infrastructure upgrades. Regional upgrades include provincial, county, and city upgrades. The area has a logical connection to existing transit networks, and a transit-ready route is detailed in the ASP. We are requesting this application be approved under Growth Plan Policy 3134 regarding employment areas outside of a preferred growth area and listed under Policy 3135, which identifies employment areas outside of preferred growth areas. The growth plan identifies preferred growth areas that are appropriate for growth because of their location in the path of development and their capacity for efficient infrastructure and servicing. Policy 3134 allows employment areas to be considered outside of these preferred growth areas where the listed criteria is met. This proposal arose due to the proximity to the recently completed CPKC connections in the Canamex Trade Corridor and the unique rail-served development opportunity. The proposed employment area cannot be located within a preferred growth area as the opportunity is specific to this location, and the opportunity did not exist at the time the growth plan was approved. The development provides efficiencies regarding the use of land by maximizing and promoting rail-served development opportunities through the Gateway Initiative Shared Investment, Shared Benefit Framework. And the ASP requires provision of full servicing for wastewater, water, and stormwater, which is provided through intermunicipal servicing and collaboration. We respectfully request the CMRB approve the proposed Prairie Gateway Area Structure Plan and an employment area outside of a preferred growth area under Policy 3134 and identified under Policy 3135 in conjunction with the proposed amendments to the Shared Intermunicipal Development Plan and Calgary's Municipal Development Plan and Calgary Transportation Plan.
We would like to thank the board for their time and consideration today on this very unique and collaborative project. We would like to also thank all the parties and individuals that worked tirelessly to create this new approach to regional planning and collaboration. And this has been a very exciting opportunity to redefine and redo how things work in this region. Should the board have any questions, our team is available, but I will pass it off to Mayor Gondek for some closing remarks.
Thank you very much. Mayor Gondek, you're up. Go ahead. Nope, you're good. There you go.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the presentation. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. And I will thank the team as well. This has been a very interesting process over the last couple of years. There was people that believed in it and people that didn't. And in the end, the people that believed are still here, which is a very good thing. This project really is rooted in the common vision that we all had. And that was to become the strongest inland port in this nation, if not North America. And we knew we could do that. And we knew we could bring well-paying jobs to the region as well as a lot of economic growth. That's really been the thing that's driven the success of this project. We also had a desire to collaborate. There was a willingness to put the past aside. There was a willingness to make sure that as municipalities, we were working together side by side with the private sector. This was really an opportunity for all of us to be stronger and better together. And trust, I can't stress that enough. It takes time to build trust. It feels like 2 years is a long time for something like this to come forward, but in many ways it flew by because we trusted each other to do the right thing. There's a lot of faith in the project and in the people that were a part of it. And I will say this, probably a very timely thing to say, there's a lot of political will to do this. This is a long game. This is not a project that's going to happen overnight, and it's not a project that we as electeds will be cutting any ribbons for. But we believe in it, we know it's important, And we stand here with you today, understanding that sometimes it's not about the quick wins, it's about the long game and what's in the best interest of the entire region. So thank you very much. I'll turn it back to you, Chair.
Great. Thank you very much, Mayor Gondek. Ms. Luster and Mr. McLean, thank you very much for your presentation. With that, any questions or comments anyone wish to share before we move on to the motion? Oh, there you go. Mayor Thorne, Okotoks, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation, and I just would like to commend my colleagues on the lifting that it's taken to get here. I know that it's been a bit. So one of the things that I really am impressed with this project is that shared investment, shared benefit framework with it. And I don't know if it's something that can potentially be shared with the board, is how that worked, like the tax sharing arrangements and the cost piece of that, just from a further understanding, because I think that's an opportunity for learning from the board. And I know I've spoken to both of my colleagues. I would like to know how, as a regional partner, there's an opportunity for other municipalities to potentially participate in this. I think you guys are leading the charge there, and I think there is an interest. I know for myself, and I won't speak for my colleague on the other side of the table, but I know he's nodding from Chestermere. We've had conversation about wanting to potentially look at how we could participate and support what you're doing in that shared investment, shared benefit. So thank you very much for moving this forward.
Great, thank you. Either one of you, sort of a question there on, sort of maybe some detail to dig into a little later. I don't know if either one of you, Reeve Kissel, go ahead.
So, thank you. It's been all those things. And we have heard you loud and clear that there are municipalities that would like to understand how they could participate. So we're currently working on the deal structure, and bless our staff, I'm going to say, because this is complicated, and we're getting there. So once that's done, that will allow for an opportunity to have the other conversations. So I'm going to say stay tuned. It's an amazing project, and we would like it to ensure that it benefits the region.
Mayor Gondek?
Yeah, the only thing I will add to that is as we sort through what that deal structure looks like, there's probably going to be a lot of learning. And so we want to make sure that we iron out any of the problems that we see with it and that we capitalize on any of the successes that we experience. So it's not a matter of not wanting other people to come on board, but we're trying it between the two of us right now, and then we'll expand it out as we need to.
Great, okay. And anything else? Mayor Dean from Chestermere.
Yes, thank you. To echo my colleague's sentiments there, I agree with everything that Mayor Thorne has said. This is exciting. It's exciting to see this coming together, to see the two municipalities working within that. Mayor Gondek, to your point about the two of you trying to iron some of those things out, or your two municipalities, sorry, not you as individuals, obviously, but your two municipalities working on ironing out some of those details and bringing those back. I'm wondering what role, if any, this board can play in regards to being a sounding board or a brainstorming board or things like that, because I certainly would echo the idea that City of Chestermere would certainly like to be at the table with regards to this, and so I'm wondering if there is any kind of a role that this board can play in helping to either brainstorm or be a sounding board for ideas.
Mayor Gondek?
I think one of the things that would be important as we move forward through this, once this gets approval and it's moving, I think sitting down with our regional partners to look at what expanded opportunity looks like would be a really good idea. We're open to that. That's something that we can do, because not only is this future focused, but any expansion out from it will also be. So yeah, I think I can speak for Reeve Kissel when I say that we would be very interested in exploring further opportunity.
Okay, good. And with that, unless there's anything else, we can move, oh, yeah. Sure, Reeve Miller, yeah.
Motion that the board approve the Prairie Gateway Area Structure Plan as an employment area outside of a preferred growth area.
Great, thank you. Miller, do we have a second on that? Councillor Petro, Mairdrie, thank you. All right, any further debate or discussion on that motion? Seeing, hearing none, motion by Reeve Miller, seconded by Councillor Petro, that the board approve the Prairie Gateway Area Structure Plan as an employment area outside of a preferred growth area. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Thank you so much. That is very, that's exciting. That's big news for our region, for our province, probably our country as well. So thank you so much for that. Well done. I thought the presentation from Rockview was especially impressive on account of Caitlin being my second cousin, which Mom would be proud. So. Okay, on to more economic development discussions. We'll start with Jamie Graves from the CMRB team, provide us some context, background, and some introductions, and onward onto more discussion on ECDEF. Jamie?
Thank you, Chair Clark. Before I briefly introduce the speakers of today, I wanted to acknowledge the work of the CRED committee, made up of experts in the realm of economic development within the member municipalities, who really rolled up their sleeves to explore shared collaborative model with a funding framework that's unique to the Calgary Metro region to attract, support, and grow investment in our region per board direction. And so some of these folks are here today in the gallery. Thank you for coming and all of your work, and also some may be tuning in on YouTube. But also extending gratitude to the speakers who have supported the CRED committee with their expertise and leadership in this exciting initiative. So with us today are Brad Perry, Bonnie Nunari, Dina Haley, and Kent Rupert. And Brad Perry is the president and CEO of Calgary Economic Development. Bonnie Nunari is the senior director of economic intelligence at Calgary Economic Development. Dina Haley is the VP Corporate Initiatives and Intelligence at CED. That's Calgary Economic Development. And Kent Rupert is the president of Rupert Strategies Consulting Limited. So I would welcome and again, thank you so much for your support in this initiative for the board. Chair, I turn it over to the presenters.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you very much. I am Brad, and thank you for the introduction. Really appreciate that. I think based on the comments that I've just had, I think I'm just going to continue that by suggesting that yes, collaboration and the long play is incredibly important for the work that we do. But I do want to take a moment to really call out all of your teams. This wasn't easy, especially coming in. It was scary. There was concerns, but I think what we loved about working with all of your teams was that they were open to listening, and they understood the process. They understood the long-term benefit, and they rolled up their sleeves, as Jamie mentioned, to make this happen, because this is an incredibly important play for us. I mean, we're all here for the same reason. We want to have an economic engine for Canada. We believe that this region can be one of the superpowers in our country, and we believe that we can do that with collaboration and cooperation. And so now I'm going to pass on to the team who did most of the heavy lifting around this to give you an update, and we'll answer any questions you have. So thank you. Bonnie?
Thank you, Brad, and I echo his comments as well as Jamie's. Really thrilled to be able to deliver a positive update here today on behalf of all the participating regional partners. As mentioned, some of them are here in the gallery. A special shout out to those that had to travel a bit far. Okotoks and Siksika Nation are here, so thank you for braving the roads. We'd also like to thank the CMRB for seeing the potential of this concept and really giving economic development practitioners an opportunity to come forward with a plan. We, after 10 months of collaboration so far, we'll walk through what that vision is, but first we'll just start with a very quick refresh. So you may recall the last time we were in front of you providing an update was at the June meeting. That's when we took a very good look at the previous studies and reports that the CMRB had developed, and really to understand the potential to grow this collaborative model. We've also had ongoing discussions beyond the CMRB core membership to incorporate other potential partners like First Nations, as mentioned, Siksika, as well as Métis Nations communities and settlements to explore what a collaborative regional partnership could potentially look like. The MNP report in particular had a vision statement. It was to position the CMR as the most attractive place in North America to invest and to grow businesses in our regionally significant sectors. We, as the CRED team, have also adopted this vision as well. We feel that it strongly aligns with our aspirations, but it also leaves us with room for creativity and to also adapt to the pace of change that we see within our own communities and in industry as well around what regionally significant means to us. So just very quickly, the CRED initiative has essentially been supported by three main groups. Of course, the CMRB as our convener, and a big thank you to both Lisa and Jamie for their guidance and support throughout this entire process. The CRED Advisory Committee, which has been comprised of the core member municipalities of the CMRB to date. And those are senior practitioners, as Jamie had mentioned, in economic development as well as administration. And CED, as the project steward of this initiative, has also developed a small project team to support facilitation and project development. Essentially, that project team has been very instrumental for us as a CRED committee. They've really helped us identify what shared interests are pertaining to investment attraction particularly. They've really helped us to build trust through candid conversations, which has really helped us to identify the terms that we see viable for this partnership. And I think, you know, we all know by now regional collaboration, regional alliances, they're certainly not unique in any way. But I think what very much struck us through this process is just how many there are. There has been a recent uptake. Certainly, they're gaining in momentum, and we're certainly seeing a tipping point now with respect to the number of regional alliances being developed. With that, I'll just quickly turn it over to my colleague, Dina, for additional insights here.
Thanks, Bonnie. Good morning, everyone. So excited to be able to come back after our to you in June to talk a little bit about what we've learned. When we met with you in June, we had done some desktop research. We'd had outreach to some other communities that had done a regional partnership. But after taking the feedback from the June meeting, we leaned into that a little bit more to really understand how we would validate the value of being able to come together collectively for the broader economic benefit of everyone in the region. And as you see in front of you, there's a number of different examples. But what we really want to chat about today briefly is the competitive nature of what jurisdictions are doing nationally in North America and globally. Everyone is coming together, we've been able to validate this, into a regional approach. And that has happened more so since COVID. With the rise in technology where talent can live and work from wherever, companies can operate from wherever because of technology, what has been validated in the work that we've done since June completely illustrates that each jurisdiction is really fighting for that dollar to attract the company into their location and to ensure that the talent that is necessary, whether it's our local talent who are looking for those new innovative jobs or talent from around the world that are looking for that next place to really call their home, those individuals, those companies are looking for the simplest and the easiest path forward. So since June, Calgary Economic Development had hosted a site selector consultants. Those are individuals that work with companies to help those companies understand where next to go. We hosted 5 very senior site selectors in a very intimate tour through Calgary, through the region, and even out to Banff. And they shared with us their insights of what they're looking for from an investment development perspective, the kinds of communities they're looking for, the kind of lifestyle that they're looking for, and the kind of collaboration that they're looking for in those regions. We then had conversations in Denver. Many of us actually from this committee went down to the International Economic Development Council, where we met with international peers. And one of the themes that came forward was, again, the whole regional approach of making sure that when you bring forth your community, you're bringing forth a region. You're talking about your airports and transit, you're talking about your talent, and you're talking about the innovation that's happening in a broader region. The more inventory you bring forward to a company, the better it is, and the The more you collaborate and the less that you are competing internally for those opportunities, the easier it is for those companies and site selectors to choose you. And then finally, we had another conversation nationally in Edmonton just a month ago with the Economic Developers Association of Canada. And once again, the concept of whether you are a small region or a large region, whether you are sectorally based, and that's why you're coming together, or it's a geographical perspective, while it came through clearly is that this is how economic jurisdictions are moving forward. So we do see an urgency around being able to come together and work in a collaborative model such that we can also be globally competitive. Thank you.
Thanks, Dina. And she very well put forward remarks with respect to why we're seeing this momentum grow. When we reflect back on the June meeting, we know how important, an understanding of the return of investment is for the board. Essentially, the models that you saw on the last slide, that is a small snapshot of what we've uncovered. But we really tried to do a bit more of a deep dive to understand what is it that makes them successful, what is it that makes them effective. And it really came down to 5 key ROIs or key successes that we were able to find. They're not in any particular order, but certainly regional reputation and global competitiveness would be a key one. Being able to collaborate and work together to finance activities obviously helps us, broaden activities within our budgets, but also allows us to do more as well. Respectfully, as you see from that example, I would say that the cities of Tacoma or Everett or King County likely would not have had a strong brand reputation abroad had it not been for the Greater Seattle Partnership umbrella supporting them. The same could be said for investment attraction and expansion as well. Again, co-funding initiatives with a bigger value proposition. It brought a lot of success to organizations like Toronto Global. And not to mention that, again, a coordinated approach for an investor is also a major factor in their investment decision when they think about landing in a region. We can't really build this regional partnership without thinking big. A big desire would be if the Calgary region was top of mind for companies because we met their supply chain needs. And Metro Denver is an example of that as well. They built a successful cluster through collaboration that achieves that, and definitely something that we're looking at as well. Successful regional alliances also prioritize innovation, and we've seen some great partnerships being developed through R&D, shared R&D initiatives that have resulted in high quality jobs as well. And to further that last point on jobs, we see that being very strategic, very targeted, and collaborative really leads us to have a better understanding of industry needs, both locally but also globally. It provides us with a stronger understanding that is shared through shared knowledge. That will help us to build pathways that will attract and retain a skilled workforce. So in the spirit of collaboration, we as partners collectively express that really now is the time for this initiative, as you've heard from my colleagues as well. Working in silos, it's just no longer an option, and everything we do within our borders on investment is ultimately going to impact the region as a whole. And just want to thank the partners as well for providing some quotes. It really just demonstrates our readiness for this initiative and to take this on. I think at this point you're probably wondering, what does readiness really mean? What does it look like? We all want to know. We really know that we definitely want a model that's going to achieve all those great ROIs if it can, but it also needs to be right-sized for our region and meets municipalities with where they're at. That's why we took a lot of time to understand partner priorities, to understand their plans, to ensure that we can deliver a strategic model that will lift the region. These terms are outlined in the partner charter, which are part of your package as well. It describes really our intent to work together and to develop not only just shared knowledge, but also how we intend to promote as a region, hunt as a pack for investment, develop regional competitiveness through joint strategy, and also really to just build a foundation that allows us to have a healthy, what we call co-opetition among us. You may recall this slide. We had also introduced it in June as well. These are the 4 areas of focus for CRED, which are also in the partner charter. It's what we intend to commit to exploring and developing further through this initiative. And I just want to stress, although we're doing it together, the products and outcomes are absolutely intended for each participating member to see the individual benefits to their communities and to complement their own local economic development strategies, and really allows us to, it really positions us to be more proactive. What CRED is doing essentially is filling the gaps in these areas and giving us what I will just say is superpowers, essentially. We all undertake initiatives under each of these 4, absolutely. But this is an opportunity to have a mechanism that will truly connect all our dots and package them into a stronger value proposition for economic development purposes. So we really intend over 2025 to continue to build out the knowledge. We've developed a good baseline this year, but there's still a ways to go. We've actually also undertaken our first regional sector study together under transportation and logistics, so we're excited to see that come to fruition. And hopefully we intend to then develop shared programming and initiatives like the ROI examples that were provided earlier. So that charter, it really serves as our guidance. It defines what we will work together on. And what you see here on this slide is how we believe we need to structure the regional partnership, especially in its early phase, to address these shared priorities. Our criteria essentially came down to 3 very simple things: speed, value, and cost. So how fast can we get this up and running so we're not left behind? We wanted to ensure that each partner saw value, saw themselves in this model. And we also wanted a model that was financially equitable for all those that wish to participate. We looked at standalone models, we looked at private sector models, and through a consensus building approach, we agreed to proceed with a 3-year secretariat that would be hosted by CD and powered by all member municipalities that wish to take part, both financially as well as in decision making. Given that really CED has had a track record of incubating new ideas like this through examples like the Opportunity Calgary Fund, the Work Integrated Learning Secretariat as well, it seemed like a natural choice for us, and it met all of the 3 criteria of speed, value, and cost. Over the 3 years, we really anticipate a budget of $1.4 million to cover major projects like the studies mentioned, promotional activities and initiatives, as well as personnel and operations. And this is, according to our estimates right now, fairly lean. We're also looking to leverage external funding from provincial and federal governments. We've had ongoing discussions on that as well. The advisory committee also agreed to utilize the CMRB's contribution formula that was recently adopted or was to take effect in 2025. That would mean that each member that chooses to be part of this partnership would pay 10% of the budget base equally, 45% of the population, and 45% of their assessment as well. And what we hope is over time that we would maybe have less reliance on municipal contributions moving forward, depending on the iteration and how this pilot takes off. Which kind of brings us to future state, because we don't want to lose sight. Within those 3 years, we're very focused on the outcomes, on delivering on projects, information, joint activities together. But again, going back to that visual of those sample models, there aren't many that are based solely on municipal membership alone. They are a hybrid. Many of them are hybrids with private entities, industry organizations, with academia, technical institutes as well. So we see opportunity to continue to explore that further, and we think that there's appetite as well. So our commitment is to continue exploring that, and of course, continuing to report back to the member municipalities with respect to the effectiveness of this model and pilot. So following our meeting today, the advisory committee really intends to finalize the charter. You may see in your partner charter on one of the last pages, we have a number of other supplemental documents that we're just looking to finalize. Some municipalities have already received approval from their councils. Others are able to cover the contribution costs within their program areas. And we're looking to also finalize our near-term projects and begin the process for execution, we hope, for next year. As mentioned already, the regional sector study is underway, so that has been prioritized. And of course, continue our discussions with both First Nations as well as Métis Nations governments and settlements to explore partnership there as well. So with that, we hope the board is supportive of the direction. We are hopeful for an endorsement of the partner charter, which will help kickstart CRED as we know it right now. We're not married to the name, we're still working on that. But it'll help kickstart it more formally. Overall, and I hope the regional partners don't mind me saying this, but this has been a journey, a really exciting one. We're very, very optimistic about what this means for the region's economic prosperity. And I think that we all are believing that this is the right foundation. It sets us on the right footing, and it ensures that we don't lose sight of our local priorities, but really helps us see big picture. So with that, maybe I'll see if there's any questions.
Thank you to all of you for that fantastic presentation. Really exciting initiative, and I think it's got some great street cred for what it's worth. Sorry. Yeah, not necessarily all that well done. All right, we'll, it's been a long morning. Any questions, comments? Anyone wish to weigh in on the proposal? Mayor Janun, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. And I'd like to preface my remarks by beginning with, I wholeheartedly believe in the CMRB. I also wholeheartedly, and our community believes in regional economic development and the tremendous potential that this board has and this opportunity has. We do, and I chose my opening remarks this morning intentionally around the pressures of growth in Cochrane. And to put that into context, our economic development team is here. All of them. 2, 1, sitting in the back. And that's really where some of my concerns are being driven by. Again, believe in everything that you've outlined today and how this region working together can best set this region up for the future. But we have limited resources in that, and that is where some of our concerns are coming. We have to prioritize some of the things that we are doing as a community, and we're seeing that this might pull our team from the work that they have to focus on in our community. Can you maybe speak to how Calgary Regional Economic Development, I don't like the cred. I don't like it.
It's collaborative right now,
yeah.
just collaborative, not Calgary, but yes.
But how can we be involved and be confident that we're not being pulled in too many directions?
No, that's a great question, and very much respect both your remarks as well as the passion the team has had throughout this journey. We know it's been challenging. This is voluntary, of course. We want to ensure that it is a coalition of the willing. We have looked at ways in which financial models could be equitable moving forward. We're happy to have discussions with municipalities that, for one reason or another, may find themselves challenged to meet the contribution formula. Again, this is very early stages, right? It's intended to be exploratory. So maybe I'll stop there. Yeah.
Thank you. That was a great question. I think from our perspective is why having everybody at the table is so important. Because as we see these opportunities come, we want to make sure it fits. If it doesn't fit, then we won't chase it. We won't look at that. But we believe that when we're out selling and talking about the region, it makes a lot of sense to have everybody at that table. But nothing will happen without that consensus, without the committee, without working to understand any of those challenges. But we can tell you that we have a number of clients in our files that are looking for those large-scale opportunities that would fit incredibly well in our region for the long-term economic benefit. So.
Okay, I guess, yeah, I understand we're building the airplane as we're kind of trying to fly it here. But just I think I'm just raising an awareness piece that I don't know what all of the board members have for economic development teams, But just speaking on our own behalf, that's a concern for us. Not that we don't want to be at the table, it's just we may not be at the table because we can't at some things. So how do we ensure that we're always getting the information, or also not being taken as not supportive of the initiative, but maybe not being able to be at the table at certain times? I guess that's really all I'm trying to raise. Then secondly, the deliverables and the return on the investment for municipalities has been unclear to us. Like, we get the general high level, yes, let's work together and draw on this investment, but how are we measuring our successes? Is there KPIs built in? Is there, maybe I'll stop my question there. You're already eager to answer.
Yes, please, go ahead if you have more.
No, go, let's do it.
Those are very valid. We obviously are always thinking about KPIs. Again, early stages, for us as economic development practitioners, always comes down to investment in jobs. And whatever activities we undertake, it needs to meet investment in jobs. But as I mentioned, our first year really needs to ensure that we have a strong baseline of information, which we currently do not have across the region. So that is being prioritized. Our KPIs initially is to ensure that we're able to develop a value proposition and have core data that helps us understand what that is. Again, through different promotional activities, certain deliverables of that nature, those are also KPIs for us. Ultimately, we would like to see more outbound activities, missions as well. And I'll just also say that we would never deter an investment from going to Cochrane or other municipalities that for one reason or another could not partake. But we also want to ensure that our members see the value of being part of this network. So those studies, that information is something that we would hold for membership. But certainly it's going to benefit the whole region.
Yeah, and please don't take my remarks as, what about me? I get that, we've talked about that a lot around this table, about how, I think, Chair, it's your line, rising tide floats all boats. You use that. It's Greg's comments now is how I'm going to always refer to that. So, so I get that. It's not just, I don't mean it to sound like, what about me? What about Cochrane? It was unclear to us how we were going to measure that, and thank you. I think that's just another concern that we're trying to raise.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can just assure you that we measure everything that we do as an organization. We plan on bringing that thesis to this group as well. Do we have all those numbers right now? No.
Yeah.
But getting people around the table to start understanding what would be those measures of success, that's what this group is going to start to develop and bring back.
And moving on from that, has there been a solid financial plan built? Like, so we know the amounts of each of the contributions of each of our members?
Yes, so the report that accompanied the partner charter, as well as the presentation, outlines the estimated budgets based on the 1.4, the estimated contributions for each municipality based on the 1.4 budget. Of course, that could shift and change as we know more about external funding sources, and once we're able to secure them. It could reduce municipal contributions or it could allow us to do more. So essentially, the Credit Advisory Committee will define how they want to proceed on that.
Yeah, okay. And I don't want to, I'm sorry, I'm kind of hogging the floor here. Just one last thing. When we were in High River talking about, brainstorming how we wanted to interface with economic development regionally, it was kind of one of the things I thought we had agreed upon was that we would target maybe an industry and then pilot going after that. I feel like we're creating a strategy overarching that will cover multiple industries. That's just a shift in philosophy. When and where have we landed on that?
So you may recall from the June meeting, we did introduce 3 sort of key sectors. They were agribusiness, transportation, logistics, and advanced manufacturing. We haven't lost sight of those, but what we would say is we wanted to ensure that the membership felt that they see themselves in this model. Again, this comes down to that shared knowledge and understanding the data behind key sectors, because we're just not all at the same place to understand what the value proposition is there. So still top of mind, but we felt as though kind of bringing up the strategy to a higher level, one that focuses more on investment attraction holistically, is more important than focusing in on a specific key sector. When we talk about regionally significant opportunities, there were 6 criteria that we had introduced at the time. That all still stands. We're just not being as prescriptive with respect to it needs to land in this sector or that one. We want to ensure that there is adaptability in that.
Okay, yeah, maybe I'll like to open it up and hear what my colleagues have to say. But
You bet.
thank you.
Okay. Mayor Dean, and then Mayor Thorne.
Yes, thank you. I would echo a few of those sentiments that you have. I heard you say you have an economic development team of 2. We have 1.5. So I would certainly echo those sentiments with regards to that. Again, I would also echo the sentiments that I'm a strong proponent and believer in regional partnerships, regional relationships. I think it is the way that we can effectively get things done. And I think we've seen a lot of trend changes, say in the last 10 years even, with regards to regional partnerships, at least in Canada, right? I mean, the US, I think, has shown some demonstration of being ahead of the curve on that, if you will, and we're kind of looking at that going, oh, look at that. And so I think we're playing a little catch up on some of those things. And so I would echo those sentiments about the collaborative pieces. I guess a question that I would have that may not be able to answer at this time, but I'll jump in and speak to the possible elephant in the room, is that we had a minor announcement that was made about an hour ago that may or may not have some impacts. And so what I'm wondering is when looking at board approval and things like that, of things like this, we may not be able to answer it at this time, but do we even have a thought as to how that announcement can impact part of this work moving forward?
Maybe it was serendipitous, but this is arm's length, right? If that wasn't clear. So the beauty of this model is that, even though we had the guidance of the CMRB to bring this forward and to come together as a collective, as economic development practitioners, this is really grassroots. So I wouldn't say that the announcement impacts us. Hopefully, it makes the sentiments around this initiative stronger. Yeah, hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, I guess I'm just looking at some of the wording in here, right? So on the second paragraph there, it says, board approval is required for the CRED partner charter to start the collaborative regional economic development model among CMRB member municipalities.
Yeah, I couldn't edit it in 5 minutes, so.
That's exactly what I'm getting at, right? It's like, so obviously that was made before. That's exactly what I'm getting at. Yes, thank you.
I think it's a fantastic question. I think that's why when we first looked at this, we made sure that this was going to be systemic amongst the administration, right? So we wanted to go beyond that to make sure that this wasn't a one city play. This was going to be everybody getting in. And so for us, the goal was to make sure that we brought everybody in at the administration level to see the value and support. Because I think, as you said, not everybody has large teams. But I think doing this together allows us to work better together, more efficiently. And I think there'll be optimization opportunities that will present themselves as we grow into this.
So at the moment, again, given that announcement, right now we don't necessarily see a direct impact on whether or not this type of work can move forward, even given said announcement that was made earlier. Although, and to be fair, that may not be a question we can answer in this given moment. I'm just wondering about that piece.
If we go to Jamie Graves, she may have an answer for us.
Thanks for the question, Mayor Dean. I think it's really topical. So the conclusion of the discussion of the model and how the organization would operate was using the CMRB as a convening point, but not limited to the growth management mandate of the CMRB, and also not limited to the membership. That was a key piece, because there was really no way to bring in other logical investors into the CRED initiative because it lived within the CMRB. And as we explored that together, we thought about what could it be, or what should it be, where should it live? And the determination was, in order to remove from the CMRB growth management mandate and also the organizational regulation that governs how the business of the CMRB operates and the membership, it made a lot of sense for it to live within CED and also
as a function outside of CMRB. So that doesn't, the decision or the announcement today doesn't impact that. It further enables it, so it doesn't hold this back.
And just to add to that, again, reiterating that those that required council approval, that wished to be part of this membership, have already received that approval. And those that are finding their contributions through program areas have already done so as well. So we have a good sense as to who is going to be partaking in this initiative moving forward.
Thank you very much. I'll go to Mayor Thorne, followed by Councillor Petro.
Thank you very much for being here in the presentation. Thank you to not only my organization staff, but all the staff for participating. I know there's lots of hours and time on this, and I think, you know, it plays on some of the words my colleagues said earlier in Reeve Kissel and Mayor Gondek around building trust and that path forward. So I think that that's really great. I'm going to preface my comments a little bit. I'm a huge believer in regional economic collaboration. I do float all boats when we work together, and you know, somebody into the region that is bringing jobs and employment benefits all of us, and just because it might not work in Okotoks doesn't mean that there's not a really good place for them in High River or in Cochrane that serves the region in a broader scape of things. So I think that that is a really good thing about strengthening the attractiveness of our region. But I am going to preface, and I appreciate that this is structured arm's length, but I know in my own head I'm trying to figure out how the announcement of this morning actually impacts a whole bunch of other stuff. So in principle, I would agree. Yep, it doesn't change anything, but in reality, I'm not sure it doesn't. And that is from the perspective that my colleague Mayor Janung has stated in terms of resourcing. So if all of a sudden I now have to do ICFs, or the growth, infrastructure growth and transportation growth that's being dealt with at this board is potentially at risk, I'm not sure where the focus of our organization will need to be in terms of what that looks like. And I'm making that statement of just got news, haven't really processed said news, and I don't know where my colleagues sitting at this table today are. So in principle, if nothing had changed, super, super excited. Bit of a bombshell in my opinion this morning. I'm not sure if that shifts anything. So I just preface the comments with that. I want to commend all of you with all of your work, but I'll just raise the flag, and I might be getting the eye from my staff back there. Okotoks needs to process what we've heard today. I'm not saying that changes anything, but we need to have a wholesome conversation as a team and then come back together with the teams that sit at this table to understand what I'm sure all of them are going to be having as conversations in the next couple of weeks. So I commend you on getting us here. I think this is a huge accomplishment because I know this has been tried in a variety of different forms many times over a number of different years. So I think getting us to this spot, it's commendable to all of those involved. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to Councillor Petro, Mayor Snodgrass.
Thank you. So through the chair, I was so excited to talk to this item, and you know, it's been a bit of a day, but obviously we are also going to have those kind of conversations going back with our municipality. I know that for us, this is a very exciting initiative, and when I think about the CMRB and I think of the benefits of CMRB, even dating back to the Hatch workshops, like economic development has been the most exciting thing for me from a regional scale. So in my mind, regardless of what happens with this board and that, this is what should be moving forward. Sorry, my notes are all over the place here because I've been scratching them as we've been writing here. But I think and I appreciate the perspective of the municipalities that have, you know, just one or maybe a couple EDOs. I think this is also, when we look at a model like this in my mind, this seems to actually benefit the small the small economic development teams, so they can build capacity through the CRED to actually achieve maybe what a sole EDO can't achieve on their own. So I greatly appreciate that, and I hope that that is the case with some of the smaller ones. I know I have a rock star team in Airdrie, a fairly robust team of amazing EDOs. So for us, this is an exciting opportunity, because even for us to reach that global scale, it's hard for us to do that on our own. I think the investment and it can be a large investment for some smaller municipalities. For us, it's a very good investment for us to put that money, and I think we've already been able to figure out where to reallocate those funds from in our budget, but the value for our municipality is huge to do an initiative like this. So I'm really excited. I hope that today's announcement doesn't change anything. Like I said, we're still going to have those conversations at the table with our council and our administration, but this is the one initiative that I would support regardless of what happens. Thanks.
Okay, Councilor Petro, thank you very much.
If I could just make one comment,
Please,
Chair.
absolutely.
I would absolutely echo those comments, but I think one of the opportunities for us too is to find other funds. And I think we're incredibly well positioned in the context with our federal, provincial, other private sector partnership models as well. We've been doing this for a while, and I think for us now is to go back out there and make sure we can secure incremental funds so that the impact from a financial perspective is reduced as much as possible.
Thank you for that. Mayor Snodgrass, go ahead.
Thanks very much for your presentation. I'm all on board. High River has nobody in economic. Yeah, and the fact that I'm sitting here having this conversation makes me it, probably. So another committee. That being said, I agree with what Mayor Thorne was talking about, and yeah, we got a lot to consider and more discussion this afternoon on the announcement this morning. So I'd be prepared to make a motion to postpone this decision to the next CMRB meeting then.
All right, is that then is a motion from Mayor Snodgrass to postpone the decision on the Collaborative Regional Economic Development Partner Charter. That is a motion. We need a seconder. We'll go.
I just had a comment on the motion. I want to speak to the motion.
Okay, sorry. We don't currently have a motion on the floor.
When it
lands?
Yes,
Okay, so we have a mover, we need a seconder before we go any further. And Mayor Reeve Kissel, thank you. Okay, and then we'll go now to Reeve Miller.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Clark. So we haven't yet had this discussion as a council, and we look forward to having that discussion, and I think there'll be a positive outcome for us as well. We're just nicely getting into the economic development realm, and so we look forward to possibly working with a team to move forward. So happy to engage with postponement if that's what the board wishes. But we haven't, as soon as we get the information from you, we'll present it in council and move forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? We've got Mayor Thorne, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to actually speak against postponement. I think we're approving a charter here, so I actually, even though I want to talk to my team and I understand the desire for the postponement from my colleagues, I actually don't think it prevents the motion that's here. I don't think it impacts any of us from a resource, and I don't want to stop work for the next month would be more of mine, because I think there's some good momentum. So I'll be voting against the motion to postpone, recognizing that this is all still in budget processes and there has been no checks cut or any of that, and allows us to decide differently, because this is just, the motion as I understand it is just to provide, or the intent of the package motion to approve the charter is just to give us the framework of here's how we're going to operate. So I think we can still support that. So I will be voting against the motion.
Okay. Mayor Snodgrass, go ahead.
Thanks, Tanya. It's not to kill any work that's being done at all. I'm questioning whether simply just because will it be part of the CMRB? Will this? No. I get that, but we're talking about it here at the CMRB today. So that's the, I guess that's my only thing with postponing, is just to give us a little bit of time to figure out who we are as a board. before we kind of move forward on this. Regardless of whether this board exists in 3 months or not, I love the idea. So, because it's, with no staff that do economic development, this is beneficial. And the reason why we don't have anybody is because it's extremely hard for a small town of 15,000 people to do economic development on any scale at all. So that's the only reason why I put the motion on the floor.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go to Councillor Petro, and then I have a point of information and a question as well. So Councillor Petro, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So through the chair, just curious, postponing this, does that have any impact on funding bodies like the federal government? Does this charter have to be in place for us to move forward with those things? Because I'd hate to postpone those.
It actually does. We have some programs at the provincial and federal government that require, that have deadlines essentially in the next few weeks. And being able to have a formal partnership will help to really solidify our application as well. So
Okay,
yes.
thank you. So just with that, I probably would not be voting in support of postponing it. And yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Mayor Snodgrass.
With that, I will rescind the motion. I'm not going to hold it up.
Thank you very much. And our seconder, are you okay with the rescission as well? Okay. And we're back to where we began. All right.
I was just going to make the motion that the board approve the collaborative regional, I can't say CRED either, collaborative regional economic development partner charter.
Thank you very much. That is so moved. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Petro is the second, and Mayor Janung to speak. Go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick question on, and I know you had a slide on next steps. I think there might be some confusion around, okay, we're establishing the charter today, we're about to vote on that. So then partners, there would be a formal request for funding, and then that's kind of that would establish the group moving forward. Is that inaccurate?
Correct. Endorsement or approval of this charter does not lock in every municipality. We still have individual contribution agreements with each municipality.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Okay, and maybe it might be taking that Cochrane is out of this. I would just want to formally say that we are in. So we intend to contribute and well, not only financially, but also participate, but with that asterisk of we're limited in resources. But I'm hearing that's the case across the region. But just, I know that's not official today with the endorsement, but I just wanted to pass that out publicly as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Reeve Miller, go ahead.
Thank you. I just wondered, is there an opportunity to bring up the funding formula in the future?
Can you clarify when you say bring up, you mean?
Well, you've got
revise
the
it?
funding formula recommended as employment, population, and assessment. So, and and maybe this is a question for our CMRB staff, that was adopted as a 3-year model for CMRB. So I just wondered, is there an opportunity to perhaps look at the funding model for the economic development?
So our process, we actually looked through all of the previous CMRB models that were explored. We as a credit advisory committee felt like the 2025 version that was to be adopted or will be adopted will best met kind of the criteria across the municipalities. If there's a desire for us to revise it, we can certainly look at that, but we, through consensus building approach, we agreed that that contribution formula is the most equitable and would be probably the furthest reaching in terms of incorporating other municipalities further down the line as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And with that, anyone else? If there are no more comments, we'll move to a vote then. Moved by Mayor Thorne, seconded by Councillor Petro, that the board approve the Collaborative Regional Economic Development Partner Charter. All those in favor? And any opposed? None. Calgary being absent, vote in favor. That passes unanimously. Thank you so, so much. If Mayor Janung is going to give me credit for clever things I didn't say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That's I think, right? Just something I came up with right now all by myself.
Thank you very much.
Yes, we'll rise. Well, the tides hopefully won't rise too far. So, just one point of process here. In our previous agenda item, it's been pointed out to me we in fact had 2 motions to make, and we've in fact only made 1. So, the motion that was made and approved by the board, that the board approve the Prairie Gateway Area Structure Plan as an employment area outside of a preferred growth area, was approved. We also need to move that the board approve the REF application 2024-12 Rocky View County Prairie Gateway ASP. May I have a motion for that? Mayor Snodgrass? Mayor Janung? Any debate on that motion? To a vote, all those in favor? Calgary being absent, voting in favor. That passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, I's dotted and T's crossed. Okay, so as per our current agenda, we're to move into a closed session at this point. And we can obviously take a bit of a bio break as well. It's a good idea. To undertake a debriefing of our strategic session and anything else that may come up. So why don't we take a brief 10-minute break, and we come back and we can move into closed. Okay, Lisa, thank you. We're back in public session. No motions to be made unless anyone wishes to make any motions. I don't see any. Anything under round table? Okay, our next meeting is Friday, December 13th in the beautiful town of Okotoks. And before we adjourn, I just want to say thank you, Lisa, for your help. We had to make you do some technical tap dancing, so thank you so much. It was, I really appreciate you facilitating this meeting for us today. It was not easy, and we appreciate it very much, so thank you. With that, the agenda being exhausted, I declare the meeting terminated. Thank you all.